Hello there and welcome to a brand new lesson. This is Happy Beyond Numbers, where we learn maths the easy way. This lesson we are looking at question number 6 of WASSCE 2026, core maths paper 2. On the left hand side are answers to the trial questions I gave to the previous lesson. By the end of this lesson, we should be able to set up equation relating distance, step length, and then number of steps. You should be able to solve for unknown distance using given, ratio, and totals. Be able to calculate the average speed using distance and then time, and finally be able to convert between meter per second and kilometer per hour. Without much ado or say, let's quickly look into it. So let's look at the question. It says Mr. Ayensu walks from his house. So I've done a little sketch here. This is Mr. Ayensu. He walks from his house to a bus stop in 80 equal steps, while his daughter, this is the daughter, Emefa, walks from the bus stop to her school in 75 equal steps. So they both walk together to this bus stop, right? The man does so in 80 equal steps. Now, when they both get to this side, the daughter especially continues in what? 75 equal steps to the school. And I'm sure the man, after bringing the daughter to this point, then goes back. So they both come together to this point and then he would move back. So it's saying the total distance between the school and then the bus stop is 40 meters. That is to say, if this is our bus stop, we are measuring the distance from this point all the way to the school. It is a 40 meters. Emefa's step is 2/3 the length of her father's step. Because the lady, that is Emefa, she has smaller legs or shorter legs. Her steps are 2/3. They are not the same or equal to that of her dad's. The first question says we have to find in meters the distance covered by Mr. Ayensu. The distance covered by him is from here to the bus stop. You have to find that distance. And then secondly, if Mr. Ayensu takes 45 seconds to reach the bus stop, you have to calculate in kilometers per hour his average walking speed. That is what this question is about. Now, how do we answer the question? Before we do, if you are given the steps and then the step length, then we say the distance that has been covered is simply the number of steps you covered times the length of each step. That is very, very direct and self-explanatory, I guess. Talking of distance as well, the formula of distance is simply speed over time. How do we get it? For the formula for speed, it is always easy to get. That is distance over time. So it's about making the D the subject. How do you do that? We just cross multiply. Cross multiplying gives us our distance, which is now equal to what? The S times the T. That is how come we have this formula over here. The last key concept you need to know is how to change from speed in kilometers per hour into what? Speed in meters per second. So anytime you have your speed in meters per second and you want to change it to kilometers per hour, just multiply it by 3.6 and that is all. It's a very straightforward formula. So with these key concepts, let's now move to the question and then solve. So starting from A, it says you have to find in meters the distance covered by Mr. Ayensu. Let's write out our parameters. So for the steps of Mr. Ayensu, so the man's, that is 80 equal steps. And what else do we know from the question? We know the steps of Emefa. So Emefa's steps is also 75 steps, right? Now the total distance between the school and then the bus is 40 meters. So we say distance is 40 meters. So these are what we have from the question. There are two more things we have from the questions, two more informations. We have their step length. So the step length, let me just write step length as this SL. So the step length of Mr. Ayensu. So Mr. Ayensu's own, I'll just put A here. Step length of Mr. Ayensu. Let's let it be L. You see, we don't know the exact value. So let's let it be L. And if this is L, then it implies that he said Emefa's step length is 2/3 the length of her father's step length. So it simply means Emefa, that is SL, and I'm going to put my E here, is 2/3, 2/3 of L. Now we have all we need from the question. Let's then see how we solve our question. Remember, the formula for distance is what? Step length times the steps. So we can say that if the total distance between the school and then the bus stop, that is from this side, the school all the way to the bus stop, is what? 40 meters. So we are going to say distance from school is going to be 40 meters. And we also know the formula of distance we have come up with. So we know the distance covered is simply the number of steps then times the step length. So in this case, it is only the daughter that went forward to the school. We are saying the number of equal steps Emefa walks from the bus stop to the school is 75. 75. You see, we also know that distance. So we come back and say this 40 meters is equal to the steps. The steps is what? 75. Then times Emefa's step length. And Emefa's step length is simply 2/3L. Easy. So we know what this L represents. We then solve and make it the subject. And that is going to be the distance covered by Mr. Ayensu. And that is going to be Mr. Ayensu's step length. You see, so let's solve and then see. We want this L. Rewriting what we have here, it becomes a 40 equals 75 times 2/3. We are going to simplify what we have here. So we have 40 is equal to 3 divided 75, 25, and 25 times 2 gives us a 50. So we have 50 L. Making our L the subject, we have L which is equal to 40/50, which when simplifies gives us a 4/5. So Mr. Ayenso's step length is simply what? 4/5. So we can then say for Mr. Ayenso, he moves 4/5 meters. The step length simply means if you move his leg once, what is the distance? 4/5 meters. Now for each 4/5, he walked 80 equal steps. And remember our formula for distance. We said the distance is what? The number of steps times the step length. So still on A, we are going to say it implies that the distance is going to be equal to the steps, which is 80 steps times 4/5 meters. And if you have to evaluate this, you are going to get 64 meters. You see? So we then conclude by saying, therefore, Mr. Ayensu walks 64 meters. That is all. Now let's look at the second part of the question. The second part of the question says, if Mr. Ayensu takes 45 seconds to reach the bus stop, you have to calculate in kilometers per hour his average walking speed in kilometers per hour. So at least we have his distance and we have the time he took. And the distance we had here is in meters, you see. So for his speed, which is distance over time, It means we have our distance S being equal to 64 divided by the time, which is 45 seconds. So 64 meters over 45 seconds, or 64 over 45 meters per second. But to change it into kilometers per hour, as we said initially, we are going to multiply what we have here, which is 64 over 45. We are multiplying that by 3.6. And 3.6 is simply 36 over 10. If you're able to evaluate this, we'll get the same velocity in kilometers per hour. Let's simplify that. So 64 over 45 times 36 over 10. We know 2 divides 10 to give us 5. And 2 also divides 64 to give us a 32. We have 3 dividing 36 to give us a 12. And 3 also dividing 45 to give us a 15. Is there any other thing to simplify? Yes, 3 can still divide 12 to give us a 4. And 3 divides 15 to give us a 5. Now there's nothing else to simplify. So we have 32 times 4, which gives us a 128 over 5 times 5, which is a 25. At this point, you can do your long division or punch it on your calculator, and that is going to give you a 5.12. And take note, this is in kilometers per hour. So this is Mr. Ayensu's speed in kilometers per hour. So we can then say, therefore, Mr. Ayensu's average walking speed is 5.12 kilometers per hour, and that is all. So that ends our lesson on this question. But as usual, I'll leave you with some exercises so you try on your own just to test your understanding. So here are 5 questions based on what we've done so far, and it applies the same concepts. If you have understood this, you can pause the video and attempt them before moving on to the next lesson. Once again, this is How Beyond Numbers, where we learn maths the easy way. If there's any issue of concern, you can always let me know at the comment section. If this is your first time on this channel, I think it will be of help to you. You can choose to subscribe if you so do, so that anytime I release a video, you'll be notified as well. See you in our next lesson, and bye for now. Do stay safe.